Oh, this is so civil. Wow, I'm uncomfortable all of a sudden.
Sandra, hi, Peter from BBC.
Hi.
Which is where you made the movie.
What's that? What?
Which is where you made the film.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that experience, and especially working with the British crew and the technical team?
I would love to. It was probably one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had, coupled because I was living in the most beautiful place, Richmond, and I was able to sort of leave that heaven and go to a soundstage, a black soundstage for 4 months, working with the nicest group of people, the kindest and most patient group of people I've ever worked with. When they all had a tremendous amount riding on them because new technology, unknown waters, they didn't know if I could do what they needed. I didn't know if they could give me what I needed. It was just, it should have been a very stressful situation, but every single day was so supportive and kind. So I had probably one of the best filming experiences I've ever had while I did the film.
Hi, so this is Leila from AFP. I wanted to ask you about working with Alfonso Cuarón. Did you know him before? What made you trust him because you didn't know in advance?
Did I what him?
What made you trust him? Because you didn't know what was going out there.
I was very familiar with Alfonso's work. I had watched him for so many years and longed to work with him. I honestly never thought in a million years that I would be able to work with him. There was always a joke in our office every time I had a project. I was like, do you think we should send it to Alfonso Cuarón? When we knew very well that he only did his own material. And then I trusted him 100% because you had the body of his work as proof. We didn't know what we were making really, and it was unknown territory, but we kept going back to look at the work that he's done so far, thematically, visually, emotionally. And it wasn't supposed to be a big blockbuster film. It was sort of a avant-garde, esoteric, existential film about loss and adversity and space. And so being on that journey with someone that you knew you could trust 1,000% is what made it so easy to go into the day not having any idea if it was going to work, how you were physically going to hold up, how you were emotionally going to hold up, but you knew you had Alfonso there, so you knew you were in a great place. Whether the film worked or not, I don't think it crossed anyone's mind. It didn't cross mine, but I trusted him explicitly.
Last question.
Sandra, hi, Dan Deavy from Westwood One. This was such an amazing movie. I think it goes beyond being a movie. It was an experience. I held my breath the entire time. It was the edge of my seat. And it was a little unnerving. I'm curious, when you watch the movie, how do you experience that same thing? Can you separate
Normally we
yourself?
don't. I think because you've seen so much of it by the time you see the film. But George and I saw nothing. We saw a black box with wires and camera equipment. Thematically, we knew how emotional the story was on the page. We just didn't know what it was going to look like. So we didn't have that experience till we saw the whole thing together in Venice, with the music, with all the wires removed, with all the ambiance and all the subtleties and all the layering. Like you see the movie for the third time and you see something in the background that you didn't see. And he meant for that experience to be exactly that, an emotional and a very visceral experience for the moviegoer. He wanted it to be so. At one point in the film, he turned the perspective of the camera so that you could step on board. And I think everyone who had the reaction in the film was having it because of something very personal in their own lives. And that's exactly what he wanted. He didn't want to placate the audience. He wanted to give them sort of what you get when you read a book. You bring your own emotion, your own visuals, your own imagination to it. And I think that was incredibly brave on his part. But he so trusted the viewer to be able to do that. It was just his job to figure out visually how to make that moment so everyone could sort of step aboard. So that's the way you were supposed to feel.